Let me tell y'all something. Do y'all hear that in the background? My neighbors walking through their house, slamming, stomping up the stairs. Do I give a mother? No. They sitting over there call themselves mad because I called the leasing office on them. Yes, I did. First of all, I'm at work minding my black ass business. I get a phone call. Hey, I think somebody in your backyard. So I'm like, backyard. So my sister like, oh, I think it's your neighbor. Now my neighbors walk through my backyard all the time. Does it bother me? Yes, because they're not supposed to be back there, but they have a dog. So I understand you got to walk your dog. Nothing, no issue with that. My issue comes in when my sister tell me, hey, this boy that's walking his dog just let this dog shit on your patio, looked at this shit, went back in the house and then cleaned it up. So bitch, I said, I know you lying. I don't believe her because there's no way somebody would be nasty and inconsiderate. So I'm like, send me a picture or you lying, bitch. Bitch, literally, shit in my yard. Bags of shit. Disgusting. Sure enough, fat ass on my porch. So, bitch, I pick up the phone to call the leasing office because I'm not finna get y'all the angry black woman stereotype, okay? I know better than to just be walking around mad as beating on people's doors because that shit can go left real quick. Because if you come to my apartment beating on my door, you gonna get your ass whooped. I call the office and I'm like, hey, this is D from such and such. And I'm sorry to bother you guys with a complaint, but yeah, we have an issue. Every single day I look up out of my window, my neighbors are standing in my backyard. And today, they walked their dog over to my yard, let it shit on my patio, looked at the shit on the floor, walked back in the house and didn't clean it up. And the last time I checked, I don't have a dog, so I'm not cleaning up dog. The lady on the other end of the phone like, oh my God, what? Are you serious? Yes, has a heart attack. Like, would you like for me to send you a picture? Would you like for me to send you a video? Because it's a hot palace yard on the patio. She's like, oh my God, send that to me and we'll address it immediately, blah, blah, blah. Home and the shit. But they walk around the house, slamming shit, huffing and puffing loud. Do I give a no? Because I'm finna go take that and throw it at their front door. So I did take y'all's advice and I set up a camera in my backyard. And guess who walked through my backyard the exact same day that I set up the damn camera? As a matter of fact, let me show you what the fit. And do you think he turned around and picked that shit up? No, so you know what I did? Hey, this is Ms. Long from such and such. My neighbor's in my backyard right now, and he's letting his dog poop all over my patio and not cleaning it up. Hey, you need video proof? Don't worry, I'll email it to you. Click. The next thing you know, I got another notification on my camera that somebody was in my backyard cleaning up that shit because I was out of town and I was not gonna do it.
Hey, Giovanna, you home? I was texting you last night, girl. What happened? Hit me back if you can. All right. Giovanna, girl, when you get this, call me.
I don't even know how to start this story, but story time. Who the my neighbor? So yesterday morning, someone knocked at the door at 5:57 a.m. and I know exactly what time it was because I looked at my phone like 5:57 a.m. Someone bangs on our door like they're the police. I got scared because I thought the police was there and I'm like, what the, you ain't do nothing. So I get up and I go, there's no one there. I get back into the bed and I lay down. 10 minutes later, another knock. Get up again, no one there. So I stood at the door for like 5 minutes to see if they were gonna come back. No one ever came back. Got back in bed. It kept happening up until 7 o'clock a.m. So when I woke up afterwards, I put the Ring camera up because I need to see who's coming to this door and who was jingling our door handle. Because I also heard someone jingle the door handle like they were trying to get in, and I heard the door stop because it was locked. So fast forward to 7:08 and knocks at the door, and she's shaking when I answer the door. And the first thing that she said is, do you know who Terrell Lewis is? You know him. You went to school with him. I have no clue who Terrell Lewis is. I've never met that guy a day in my life. I have no clue who he even is, if he even exists. Then she says, James told me that you knew him. is a man that used to work at my high school, and he was like a security guard. I don't even know what to even call him. He was a security guard that worked at my high school, and when I found out that he was staying in the apartment right next to me, it bothered me because that was funny. But never mind him. This is about the best girl. So she came at 7:08. And she said she was shaking and everything. And I'm like, do you need to call the police? Do you need any help? Like, are you okay? And she's like, no, I just need to know. Do you know him? And I'm like, no, I don't know who this guy is. So then she comes back to the door and was like, can you just come and sit with me for a while? And I'm like, huh? But I'm thinking that this girl is really in danger. So like me being a woman, I'm like, okay. And I go stand at her door with her, and she just starts talking, and this is when I knew that she was insane. She was like, yeah, do you know Stranger Things? Have you ever seen Stranger Things? Yeah, well, our building is the upside down world, like Stranger Things. And I'm like, okay. And then she said that James had penetrated her while she was sleeping, and she felt violated. And so all these things that she's saying, I'm like, have you called the police? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Have you called the police? She said that this man has a contract with the police, and she's called them all day, and that they're not coming to help her. And I'm just like, okay. So after I had that interaction with her, I went back into the apartment, and she came back not even 2 or 3 minutes later. And she's like, they're fighting down the hall. Make sure you lock your door. And I'm like, this door is always locked. What are you talking about? So after that, I stopped answering the door because I'm like, it's clearly something wrong with this girl, and I can't give her the assistance that she needs. So she comes back again. I didn't answer the door, and she kept coming back. I think she came back 2 or 3 times last night. Then this morning, it started again. She came at 10:04. Then she came again at 10:13. Both times, she's like, the first time, she's like, hey, I texted you last night. What happened? Call me when you get this. And then walks away from the door. Then rings my doorbell again at 10:13 and says, call me when you get this. And then walks away. Then she came back at 1:11 today. And this time she looks upset. I'm posting all the videos. I'm posting everything. So y'all, I'm posting time frames, everything. She comes back. She's upset. She looks like she's trying to call my phone. I gave this girl the wrong phone number because I don't know you, for one. And for two, you're not going to be filling me up with these psychotic ass. No. So she comes back and is like, call me. Or I don't know if she said call me, but she looked very upset because I wasn't answering. So I had my mom call the office because I'm like, this is getting out of hand. Then she knows my name. She's calling my name, talking about Giovanna, open the door, or call me, Giovanna, call me when you get this. Like, this is too much. I don't even know this girl. I just know her in passing when I say hey, when I see her and her kids. But that's about it. I don't talk to this girl outside. I literally never met this girl until I came to this building. So after my mom called the office, she came back again. She came at 2:32 and she took a picture of my camera and then she walked away. So at 3:44, I had got another notification that my camera went off, and I seen that it was the behavioral crisis response leaving her apartment, and I guess she didn't answer the door. So at 5:10, the police called me and said that they're downstairs and asked me to come and open the door for them. So I went down and opened the door. And so they're like, okay, we're going to stay right here. You can go in your apartment, and then we're going to go knock on her door, and we're going to try to talk to her. And I guess she didn't open the door, so they weren't able to talk to her. But I heard him yelling. He's like, since you don't want to open the door, stop harassing your neighbors. And then they left. Mind you, the police was only at her door for all of 1 minute. They didn't even knock for long. They didn't even try. So they leave. They called me and said, oh, she didn't open the door, so there's nothing that we can do. Just let the apartments know. So she comes back again. After the police leaves, she comes back and knocks. Like, I swear to God, she knocked probably 10 minutes later after the police left. And I didn't answer. So I had left out at about like 7:22. And I kid you not, I'm going to post a video with the timestamps. I left out at 7:22. As soon as I get to the elevator, she is ringing my doorbell. And in the video, you can see that when she hears the elevator, she like runs to her apartment. And it was just very strange. She keeps coming back, and now she's putting things at the door. And she held up some little foam tea. Looks like a children's block or whatever. It was a tea, and it had something wrapped around it. And then she left. She came back again. She picked it up, and then she whispered something to the camera. It sounded like, "I hate you." And then she came back again, picked it up, left again, and then she came back again, and she sprinkled something at the door. It's giving she's trying to put a fuck on me. It's giving she's trying to put a hex, something. And I've called the police like 3 times since that has happened, and they keep telling me that there's nothing they can do since she won't open the door and they won't help me, and I'm terrified. And this is all because I decided to open the door and ask this person if she was okay, and I truly regret doing that, because it seems like nowadays you can't even be a good person to anybody without stuff like this happening. And now I just don't even know what to do. The police is not helping me, and I need help because this person is literally stalking and harassing me. And the apartment is closed until Monday, so there's really nothing that we can do at this point because the police is not going to help us. And I feel like I'd be wrong if I shot this bitch. I would be in trouble for this shit. But at this point, like, I got to do what I got to do to defend myself because I don't know what the hell this bitch is on. But, yeah, I'm currently just trying to figure out what to do. And yeah, I don't know, because somebody help me. Like, what do y'all do in situations if somebody is stalking and harassing you and the police won't help you? Because ain't they who's supposed to help us? Like, this shit just so weird. I feel like if I was a white woman and I was crying my white tears, that they would have came in there with SWAT and everything, and they would have broke that door down. They would have apprehended her and some more shit. Like, this is just too much. Okay, so here's an update on my neighbor who has been stalking and harassing me. So last night I had got a notification on my camera that there was motion detected. So when I went to go look, I had seen that it was a neighbor's son and her daughter, and they had no clothes on, and so they were screaming and crying, and it looks like they were running away from her. And in the video you can hear her yelling at them, "Get over here," but it was in a demonic voice. I can't do it because my niece keep getting scared, but like, it was a demonic voice, and it was like, "Get over here, get over here." Like, it was really scary. I'm not gonna lie, if I was a child and I heard that, I would be scared too. Like, I'm happy that he had enough, like, I don't want to say sense, but he knew that he needed to get out that apartment, him and his sister, and that he ran for help. And I'm just happy that they went for help. And so then I got another notification, and this time it was my doorbell ringing. And so she rang the doorbell at 1:43. And when she rang the doorbell, she literally is saying, "Where the kids at? They in here?" And she's looking at the kids saying, "Where the kids at? They in here?" And so then in the next clip, they're not in the camera at all, but you could just hear the audio. And she said, "Who is your mom? Who is your dad?" That's how I knew that was a demon talking to them kids. That was not her talking to her kids. Like, that was a demon. And so after that, I called the police because I just couldn't sit back and watch that shit happen. I could not listen to them kids screaming and crying like that. And just, if she had done something to the kids, that would have been on my conscience, and I would have felt so fucking knowing that there could have been something I could have done to help them. So I did call the police last night. They dispatched me to my area because I'm not in my area anymore. And when I got on the phone with the operator, they told me that somebody else had called already in my building on my floor. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I got on the phone with them. I went back to my camera. Literally, she got to the door at 1:43. Then there was another notification that went off at 1:44. The police got off the elevator literally at 1:45 a.m. Like, I'm so happy that they caught her ass in action, because that is what I've been wanting to happen. Since they kept saying that there's nothing they could do because she won't open the door, like, I'm so happy that they caught her in action. So in the audio, you can hear, they're like, "Yep, there she go." And then it sounds like she tried to close the door or something, but they bombarded in that bitch, and they got up in there. And they got them kids out, like, real quick. So they got them kids out less than 5 minutes. And boom, they was gone downstairs with the kids. And then it was just the police left. And in the clip that I had seen on my camera, the police officer was saying, so yes, in the video, the officer is saying something about transporting. And the last video that my camera captured before it died, I literally thought that my camera died yesterday when I was on live, because I stopped receiving notifications. And I guess it just stopped sending me notifications because it was about to die. And so then I started getting them again at like 1 in the morning. But also, there was a video. She did come to my door while I was on live yesterday. She was naked, And it was crazy. And so the last video that triggered, it was the behavioral crisis response people. It looks like they went in the house to get stuff for the kids, because I seen a teddy bear and they had shoes and stuff. And that was the last video of them leaving. So I didn't get to see them taking her out or anything like that. So this morning, when I went to the police station to file the police report, I was informed that there was somebody taken to the hospital from that address last night. So I'm more than sure it was her. And so that's a good thing that she's like out the building, but it still does not give me solace in the situation knowing it. Like, so when I was at the police station, I explained the situation to the man. He wasn't really much help. He just told me that I need to go and ask the judge for a petition for a restraining order. But because she is PIC, which is mean a person in crisis, that the likelihood of me getting a restraining order against her is slim to none. And that just doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like I'm constantly given the runaround, or I'm not really getting help or the assistance that I need in this situation to make me feel safe and sound. Like, so after he told me that, I'm like, okay. Then, as I was telling him, like, you know, what had happened last night and all the things that had happened, I told him, like, you know, I feel like this girl she's definitely possessed by a demon. You know, this man had the nerve to tell me that you watch too many scary movies and tried to laugh it off. Hanging up on you, not in the mother mood. After that, I'm like, you know what? I'm finna go, because you not finna fucking gaslight me talking about I'm some spiritual shit. What you talking about? I'm like, you know what? You might be one of the demons too. So I got up out of there after that, because it was just like, it was clear that he wasn't gonna help me. He couldn't help me. So I left. I did go back home to pack me a bag for just to stay a little longer from there. I just don't. Right now, I cannot see myself going back home at this very moment. I just don't feel comfortable. Even though she's gone, it's just the anxiety of being there. Like, I dead ass had bad anxiety. Just hearing the banging, yelling. Like, it was just traumatizing nonetheless. Like, so I really don't know what I'm about to do. Property management did come up to the apartment, actually, because we had inspection today, and they didn't really touch on it. Like, I asked them, like, hey, have y'all received the reports from police about this weekend? And they're like, what reports? And I'm like, the police officer just told me that somebody was going to come out and talk to y'all. I said, you know what? So the boy who I had told this about I told him about it one Friday. He's like, she's still messing with you? Like, she's still bothering you? I'm like, the shit never stops. Like, what do you mean still? The shit never stops. And you would know that if you checked your DMs, babe, because I DM'd you. But I was like, you know, I'm not even going to get into this right now. It's clear I need to have a sit down. I need to send all this shit to y'all. I need to send this to corporate for y'all to get some fire under y'all ass, because it's clear that y'all don't get. Then the lady told me that she couldn't let me know, like, she couldn't discuss it with me, but it's being handled, and that I wasn't the only person that she was bothering. But it's just like, that don't give me no type of, like, that don't make me feel better at all. Like, so yeah, that's the update. And I feel like I missed a few things. If I remember it, I'll either go live or make another video.
I have now been told by the police, I'd love your advice on this, guys. The police actually have asked me to take down the covers which stop my next door neighbour. I won't say what I think it is, but I have to take them down because it's criminal damage, apparently. Criminal damage to his property. If you put a nail in a piece of property that he owns, that he's paid for, I have to take that down. So there we go. There's a nail in there. I think that's a criminal offence, apparently. So I'm going to take it down on the advice of the police, so that my neighbour can still see into my garden. Oh, sorry, let me just get this last bit down. It's really caught. I'm sure he's very pleased I'm doing this, so he's probably watching me, filming me. Yeah, I'm going to take it down. Bit of fluff there. It's probably a criminal offence as well. And yeah, so now he has full access to seeing into my garden. So if I, have any friends round, he can just see that. If Ava comes around tomorrow, he can see her in the hot tub. He has full access. I think that camera is still pointing towards me. I mean, you might be able to zoom in better than I can. But I'm pretty sure it's pointing into me and not just the boundary. But he claims it's just pointing to the boundary. The boundary's there and the camera's there. So yeah, clearly he wants to look into my garden. It's absolutely fine. Maybe he's got a set up in his bedroom. Maybe he enjoys watching me in the garden naked. I don't know. Maybe we can ask him. Comments below. Thank you so much. Bye.
So let me tell you all this neighbor story real quick. So this was COVID time when we could go outside. We couldn't do anything. I started doing HIIT workouts in my living room. We live in an apartment complex. She lived downstairs at the time. So one day we get a letter, a very insulting letter, basically her saying that the loud thumping of bodies being thrown on the floor is causing her walls to vibrate and her painting to shift and her mirror to shift and whatever, because I'm the size of a hippo apparently. So cool, no problem, acknowledged. Amari goes downstairs, he apologizes. I went and I got those thick rubber mats and I would lay it on the floor when I'm exercising. That did not make a difference to her. This was the beginning of her vendetta against me and her obsession with me. So to cut a long story short, this would have gone on over a period of weeks, I want to say. In that period of time, she continued to contact our landlords. She reported me several times to the police. She contacted the property developer as well. It got to the point where she had a judge write us a letter. So now things are getting legal. So now I get a legal letter. So I now need to go get legal advice. Thankfully, my friend is a lawyer and she said she's going to help us with this. But yeah, now we're at that point. So while all of this is happening, a police officer comes to the door and basically tells us that this woman isn't going to stop until we leave. Her goal is to get us out of the complex. And then he kept on saying, she kept bringing up the fact that I'm Jamaican and it needs to be checked and my immigration status needs to be checked, and she kept bringing up the fact that I'm Jamaican. So there seems to be some burning issue with the fact that I have Jamaican ties or I'm Jamaican or whatever that obsession is. That was top priority for her, the fact that I am Jamaican and my immigration status needs to be checked out. So anyways, so my friend, she responds legally to the letter, and the judge who wrote us the letter, he was just like, peace out. I can't help in this situation. I gone, which is hilarious because like, bro, you wrote the letter on no basis anyways. But anyways, so she was left to fight the battle by herself. And I think that she was doing Obia down there. She was definitely conjuring something down there because it was a very dark time for me, y'all. Like the energy was off. And I was having like a lot of bad dreams, like nightmare type of dreams. She would be like throwing salt outside of her window. Every time Amari anytime we're outside, you would just like see her peeping through the blinds, like these blinds, spraying. I don't know if she's spraying what she was spraying. It was holy water or bleach water, but you would just see her spraying every time we passed the area. I'm gonna tell you some wild shit. She had a big cross of holy oil on her door. She had Saint Michael Archangel medallion string up everywhere. Like, I don't know what she was doing down there, but it was something very dark and very evil. And I also want to add, she got up and she went to church at 6 a.m. like clockwork every single day. But that's not the point here. Now, in between any opportunity I would get to cuss her out, I would. Them old people can't deal with cussing, so I would just maximize on that. I literally tried to make her life a living hell because I knew what she was doing. And any opportunity I got to cuss, I was cussing. The final straw in this saga, it was a Sunday morning. We had a little lime. This was curfew time, so nobody could be here late anyways. So we had a little lime. Those who had to leave left, and some of us, we have some friends in the complex. We stayed and we were just liming a little bit. 2 o'clock in the morning, we decided we're gonna go inside. It was a garbage bag. There's a little garbage receptacle outside for like grass clippings or whatever. It's barely even ever used. It's just there. So we had string up a garbage bag in the bin, and all the garbage was in there. It wasn't any food stuff. It was mostly like bottles and cups and stuff. And we don't have animals around, so it was fine. So we said, whatever, we just deal with the garbage. We just close the bag and we just take it to the main receptacle in the morning. Anyways, morning time come now, and I'm looking in the courtyard and I'm seeing the garbage bin in the middle of the courtyard, and I'm like, I know we did not leave that there. So I go downstairs and I move it back because my spidey sense is tingling, and I'm like, I know it's this one downstairs doing some shit. So anyways, so I put it back and I'm peeping through my window now, and I see her putting it back into the courtyard. So I open the window and I start to cuss, and I'm like, what is it? I can't say what I said, but it was expletives, of course, on a good Sunday morning. Sorry, Lord. But I start to cuss, and she turns around and she's just like, why you don't go from here, you whore? Y'all, I woke Amari up and I charged downstairs, full speed ahead, guns blazing out. Everything I could have tell that woman, I told her that morning. It was so extremely insane. She's holding on to one side of the bin, Amari's holding on to one side of the bin, and he's just like, what is wrong with you? And she's literally pulling the bin. So if Amari had let go of that bin and she fell and broke her hip, which is what probably should have happened, but I digress. If that had happened, can you imagine the excitement I would have get myself in? Because she was pulling the old woman card all the time, and she's just this old woman, and she's, you know, she's just an old lady wreaking havoc in my life, trying to get me deported. But you're just I'm just an old woman, y'all. Anyways, sorry, I'm going all over the place. But anyways, in that spot, we were just going back and forth. She called me a demon of lust, which was hilarious. That was like my nickname for a long time in my group of friends, because it was just too good to be true. Like, she was just throwing all these weak insults. I was just going for the jugular. Then I decided I'm going to be very passive, because she also had an obsession with me and Amari. Like, she knew we weren't married at the time, and she was just obsessed with it. I don't know if she just was and did not like to see interracial couples. I don't know. It could be a lot of theories. But this is what I found out in that moment. I asked her, I said, you're always asking me about my husband. You're always asking me about this one. Where's yours? Where is your husband? To which she replied, he's right where yours is, out there living like a dog. So at that moment, I was like, oh, now it makes sense. Your husband left you for either a Jamaican or somebody that looked like me, which is why you're so obsessed with me. So anyways, she continued to call me a demon and continued to call me whatever it is she wanted to call me. But that was the breaking point for me. At that point in time, I went to the police station again, and I said to them, I literally went like with tears in my eyes. I had to put on the whole show for them, because I had been going and reporting harassment several times and they weren't assisting me with anything. So I went and I basically told them, I'm literally begging for you guys' assistance. This woman has been consistently harassing me, and you know, I need your intervention. I need your help, because I can't do this anymore with this lady. So they came. Of course, she was using the old lady card, because I'm the big bad wolf, the mean demon of lust, who made her life a living hell. They warned us both not to speak to each other. They told us that if either party comes to the police station and makes any more reports, neither of us are going to like the outcome. So I'm like, okay, cool, no problem, fine with me. Thank you for coming and assisting me with this issue. Thank you. I tried to avoid her at all costs, because I know myself, I would jump out of my skin and get myself in trouble. So I definitely tried to avoid her. We continued to live in hate for a while. And then recently she had to move out, because she was in another legal dispute with some other people who wanted the money. And my assumption is that she had to move out and sell the property downstairs, because she needed the money to take care of her legal fees. And to me, I felt like that was karma dealing with it for me, for everything that woman tried to put me through and did put me through. Because like I said, y'all, it was a really dark time. Like, whatever she was conjuring up down there under the guise of Christ, which is horrible, but whatever she was doing down there, it was a really bad time for me. Like, those dreams were terrible, like horrible. But anyways, karma took care of it for me, I think. And yeah, that's the story.
What's up, Islanders? Welcome back to another video, guys. Of course, you know it's your favorite island girl, Jody, here from the 876. And yes, guys, we're diving into a topic that honestly many of us can unfortunately relate to. We're talking about neighbors from hell. Yes, those neighbors who somehow manage to make what is supposed to be a peaceful home feels like a reality show gone wrong. But let me start off by saying this isn't about venting, or maybe it is just a little bit, but it's about, unpacking the dynamics of the whole neighborhood drama and why some people just seem like they are just committed to making everyone's life miserable. Something so ironic about the idea that you can save up for years, buy your dream home, you move into what looks like a perfect community, and then boom, welcome to your personal nightmare. From loud music at 2 a.m. to full-on property disputes, bad neighbors can seriously mess up, your peace of mind, your sanity, and sometimes even your safety. Before we jump into the rest of the video, guys, just a reminder to like this video. It's easy, it's free, support the channel, and we love to have you join the Islanders by, of course, hitting that subscribe button. With that being said, guys, let's keep watching.
I don't know what it is about upstairs neighbors, but really, like, being a downstairs resident at this point, I know what y'all was talking about. It's really just like, you're not finna harass me in my own home. So I had moved into this place like a month after the upstairs neighbor moved in. But I was under the impression that we had moved in like a weekend apart. So when I moved in, everything was cool. One night, I was just like, like, they just start moving furniture. Like, I've started realizing they start moving furniture around. It sounded like a rolling bowling ball, like rolling across the floor, or a chair rolling across the floor. And every now and then I would hear like a loud thud. Like, to the point though that it was like shaking my room. Like, bad. Like, doo. And so I was like, okay, maybe they're still getting their stuff together. Like, she already told me, like, the manager at the time had already told me that the person upstairs works late. So I'm like, okay, let me just give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're still moving in. Like, maybe they're just trying to get their place together. This is the only time they got to get their place together, because the rest of the time they at work. So it keeps going on for, like, I didn't start saying nothing until a month in. So one day I'm sleeping peacefully, and then 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, I hear 1, 2, and then I hear what sound like a medicine ball, like dropping on the floor, like doom, doo doo, because I would hear the little bounce back, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, is this man working out and slamming the weights down on the ground at 4:30 in the morning? So I'm like, what the fuck? So I go upstairs, because at this point, I ain't never spoke to you. You ain't never spoke to me, but you being obnoxious right now. Like, at 4:30 in the morning. It already is bad enough that you get started at 12. But when I tell y'all, it was from 12 to 1. And then it would stop and then pick back up from 3 to 4. Then stop and then pick back up at 6. Like, I'm like, this man don't sleep. Okay, this man don't sleep. All right. So I got up, put a robe on, and went upstairs. Knocked on the door. No answer. I was like, oh, he a bitch. He know what he doing, because I'm like, you heard me knocking. Maybe your door is closed. Maybe you got AirPods in. Like, let's give benefits to the doubt. You never know. Maybe you hard of hearing. Okay, no problem. So then like a week later, mind you, I'm still dealing with the noises at 12 o'clock in the morning. But I'm like, okay, I'll just turn my TV on, try to drown it out, go to sleep. I see him walk down the stairs. And I'm like, okay. So I run outside to my patio, and I'm like, hey, hello, excuse me. He don't say nothing. He keep walking like he didn't hear a thing. He just blatantly ignored me. So now I'm like, now I got to go get the manager involved. So when I sent the manager a message like, hey, the neighbor upstairs is being loud. Like, I've tried to speak to him on 2 occasions. Could you talk to him, please? So she goes like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to him or whatever. She goes and talks to him. She tells me that he said he's not doing anything and he be asleep. I know I'm not crazy. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm dealing with a bitch ass nigga and I'm dealing with a liar. Okay, no problem. Just get to recording. We love a record. We love a camera over here. So every single day he would do some bullshit. My phone would be out. I would be like, I'm recording, and I was sent emails. When I say I sent like 25 different emails before we got to the final point, I sent 25 different emails. The neighbor ended up telling the manager, stop coming to talk to me because I'm not going to stop doing whatever she thinks I'm doing. So then the manager tells me that I need to call the police. And I was like, oh, okay. She was like, yeah, if you want us to be able to do anything further, we need a police report. So I was like, dang, like, that's a black man. You know, I'm not really trying to be on that time. And I'm understanding, like, okay. So I don't call the police immediately. I told my man, he was like, you want me to come over? I was like, hold on. Cause like, just let me think about it a little bit. Let me just think. I like that. I really could have had my man handle it from Jump Street, but I was like, you know what? Like, I don't need it to go to the extreme. And I've also noticed that men that see women that aren't with somebody, like living with somebody or have somebody all the time, they think they can get over one on them. And it's just like, sorry, like, I'm really trying to save you. Like, I'm trying to save you because I know where I could. And so I go ahead and look at my lease. And I'm like, let me see what I signed. And I see that I had initialed, so that means he initialed too, to not disturb our neighbors. Courtesy hours were 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., which means you are supposed to be quiet. Those are quiet hours. I started calling the police, making police reports, just trying to get police reports, trying to have a record, just trying to have a paper trail, right? No problem. He tells the police, at this point, she's harassing me. I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to sleep. And I'm like, listen to the recording. The police is like, we hear it, but he's saying this and you're saying this, but we hear your recordings. And so one time I had called them, and this was probably like the third time I didn't call them. And he was like, he was doing all the noise. They started knocking on the door, da-da-da-da. He answered the door. He tells him same little rundown. I'm not doing anything. She's crazy. This is insane. She's really calling the police on me and I'm not doing nothing. Okay. So then the police leave and he literally jumps on the ground and says, you can't make me do nothing. You don't run my house. I can do whatever I want to do. Yelling through the floor. Well, his floor, my ceiling. Yelling through the ceiling. Like, you can't make me stop. Nobody can make me just do anything. I was like, oh, he's crazy. This man is crazy. But this man straight up, I'm not going to kiss your ass like your mama do. Because he lived with his mama. 30 plus living with his mama. Says enough to me. Anyway, I said, oh, okay. I called the police immediately back. I called that direct number. Like, hey, y'all just left. You need to come back because he's back. He started again. He just told me y'all not going to do nothing and I can't do nothing about it. So y'all need to come back. And they did. And then they were like, okay, you know what? You need to come up to the station. So I went up to the station the next day and they were like, we need to just go. The captain came out or whatever. Like, okay, this has been an ongoing thing. You've been calling and calling. And you showing proof and stuff like that, go ahead and file a restraining order. You need to take this man to court. Because we can't actively do nothing if he's not actively doing it when we get there. And I was like, oh my God, like what the... Like in my mind, I'm like, what are y'all good for? I get him served and we go to court. And when we get to court, the judge is like, oh... I actually am believing her and everything because when I say I brought documents, I brought the flash drive out. I was like, yeah, Your Honor, I'm not playing these games because at this point I can't even sleep. The judge is like, I don't want to give him a restraining order because it's gonna mess up for real his life for real. So is there any way that y'all can come to an agreement and write a contract out and go from there? Okay, no problem. Like, yeah, we can come to an agreement. So we step out of court. We come to an agreement that, okay, courtesy hours, like I had already said, is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Those are quiet hours. So I was like, you know what? Sunday through Thursday, give me my time. Because I got to get up and everything like that. Friday, Saturday, I'll give you till 12. He was already like, I don't have parties. I don't be having company. So I'm like, fine. There's no reason for this obnoxious noise. And so as we're sitting outside talking, I'm like, what's up with you? Like, you know, like just like this is our first time actually having a conversation. And he admitted that he will be doing it on purpose. I was like, what the? In my mind, I was like, damn, I wish I was recording right there because I knew you knew what you was doing. I knew it. Everybody said I'm crazy. And I'm like, you're telling people that it's your box spring. Like, I've had a bad box spring before, I know. And that ain't it. Like, that's not it. It was the admission for me. So we go make an agreement. This is the contract. He even was like, can we exchange phone numbers so that in case that you do have an issue or something, you could just text me? I said, sure, whatever. That wasn't my idea. That was his. No problem. So we go back in court. The judge basically tells him, if she brings you back to court, I'm going to put the restraining order on you. So it will be in your best interest to follow along with this agreement that y'all have come up with yourselves. So everything is cool. About a month goes by and he get back to getting. So I send him a text message in the middle of the night. Hey, just per our contract, per our agreement, just a friendly reminder. I'm going to need you to keep it down. It's past 11 o'clock. Like, I wouldn't even say nothing at 11 when he was doing whatever the he was doing. I would give it a minute. Like, okay, like, I'm awake right now. I'm not really tripping. I would text him like, hey, okay, it's been going on for like an hour now. Go ahead and calm it down. He would deliberately not text me back in that moment and then text me back at like 9 in the morning. Like, oh, well, I don't really know what you're talking about. Like, trying to play it off like he was asleep, but he really wasn't. And I was like, no problem. I've recorded it. Like, I don't care what you're talking about. I'm always recording. My phone was so full of my storage was so full from these videos, it wasn't even funny. So I was like, no problem. I recorded it. I'm just letting you know that we have an agreement and I don't mind going back to court. Like, let's stop playing. So this happened twice, maybe 3 times. Then that last time I texted him, my text turned green. And I said, oh, okay, so you blocked me. No problem. I texted him from my text now number, like a texting app. And I said, hey, I think you blocked me, but I'm going to need you to keep it down. Like, we have an agreement. Like I said, I don't mind going back to court. Yes, it's going to be time consuming, but in my mind, I'm like, yes, it's going to be time consuming, but guess what? For my sleep, I'm going there. So I was like, okay, no problem. Hey, I'm gonna need you to keep it down. He was like, there's no reason for you to text me anymore. I'm actually gonna move out because you are harassing me at this point. I'm harassing you? Boy, you better be lucky I didn't just ask the judge, go ahead and listen to all the evidence that I have, every single one of them, so they could put this restraining order on your ass. Like, oh, there's no reason for you to text me. I'm actually moving out, and you keep texting me, and I don't even be there. I'm at my girlfriend's house. You're a mother. Cause the reason I'm saying that I know I'm not crazy is because in that apartment, there was no shared neighbors. The only shared neighbor I had was the upstairs neighbor. I didn't share a wall with anybody. So where am I hearing noise from? If it ain't coming from my house, where is it coming from? There's no shared walls. The only shared wall was upstairs and downstairs, which is the ceiling and the floor. So I'm like, I'm not crazy. The manager, because at this point I'm like, okay, if he said he moving out in a month, I don't believe him because he's a liar and a gaslighter. So I'm like, okay, let me ask the manager, like, hey, he said he's moving out. Is that true? Did he give a 30-day notice or what? Because I'm ready to take his ass back to court. So she was like, yeah, he is moving out. He's moving out on the 1st. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. And I said, so I was like, thank you for letting me know that you're moving out. But in the meantime, in between time, you still need to keep it down because I will go back to court. Like, why are you even here? Like, what the hell? So, needless to say, I didn't ever get an upstairs neighbor again. I told my manager, I said, please, when you are touring that apartment, please make sure that those people are quiet people because I don't want no issues. Because I don't give a you're not finna bother me. Like I said, needless to say, I never got an upstairs neighbor. And after the mother out, I never heard nothing else. Like, I say all that to say, if you got a noisy upstairs neighbor, sometimes you got to get pettier. Sometimes you got to get pettier. Sometimes you got to take that extra step. Like, okay, you playing with me? We could just go take it to the courts. We could just go let the judge handle it. Since you don't want to handle this as a neighbor, since you don't want to communicate with me, since you don't want to be like, you got to they petty, you got to show them that you are pettier and you got the law on your side. Yeah. Yeah, because I was gladly about to go back to court. No problem. See you in a month, judge. No problem.
Does anyone have any advice on what to do about loud neighbors. I've officially sent like my leasing office an email talking about how disruptive it is. It's all day long, literally starting at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep because of it. It disrupts my work. It disrupts my dog. I literally hear running all day long. I come home from a job that I don't enjoy, and all I want is to be able to sit in quiet, like in quiet silence, whatever I'm trying to say. I can't even speak right. And I can hear a piano right now. I hear a kid running. I've literally heard their screams into a microphone. And like, first step is obviously contacting the leasing office. I've let them know now. I'm starting to film it. Obviously, hopefully you heard it in this, just the running. But like, is there like soundproofing stuff that I can just start sticking to my ceiling? I don't care. I literally don't care if I lose the aesthetics of my apartment. If there's, not that I should have to invest in making my apartment peaceful and a home, but like, I've never had so many issues with an apartment. I want to cry.
So ever since I moved into this apartment in May, it's been hell. These luxury apartments are not for luxury, but that's a whole nother story for another day. My upstairs neighbors make so much noise. It was a lot of like hitting and like very loud stomping. I thought they had a kid up there because I always heard like running of like little feet, and they wait till almost 10 o'clock to vacuum, right? So I talked to the office, and they were like, oh, well, we can't really do anything about them vacuuming late at night, whatever. Like, you're lying, because every apartment has a policy of quiet hours, but whatever. So I left a note on the bed. I wrote a note. I didn't say where I was. I just said, I am around you and you make a lot of noise. Can you please keep it down? A lot of us have to wake up early, because when I wrote them the note, my earliest day that I had to wake up was 3:30 in the morning. So I just politely asked them to keep it down. Once again, I did not say which apartment I was. There was no cameras anywhere up there. I come back home a few hours later. There's a note under my door. That's how I know it was white. Wrote in pink pen, and it was so condescending. Oh, well, I hope y'all heard that. It was so condescending, like, we don't even have kids up here, and I work from home, and I need it very quiet, and whatever. And, you know, once you find out who it is, please let us know, because we've been having problems with noise complaints too. I say, you know what, I'm gonna eat that. I'm not gonna argue with these people because they live above me. So if I get into it with them, they're gonna make my life a living hell, right? So I've been letting shit slide. Was it 9:51, and this up there was vacuuming, and I mean, it was shake. We have hardwood floors everywhere except the bedroom and the closet. Why the f*** are you vacuuming hardwood? I can hear everything. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to get dressed and go to the leasing office and tell them, if y'all don't handle that, I will. Because when I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, I'm taking a broomstick and I'm just going fuck, because you got me so. Why are you vacuuming at 9:50 at night on hardwood? You've been at home all day.
Oh, let's talk about the noise, because if you've ever lived next to someone who thinks it's a music festival or maybe like a demolition derby, you already know the pain. You know, we all expect a certain level of noise, you know, maybe like lawnmowers, kids playing, and maybe an occasional party here and there. You know, that's life. Then there's a difference between normal neighborhood sounds and waking up at 3 a.m. because your neighbor decided that they're going to vacuum their hardwood floor. You know, what makes it worse is that some neighbors know that they are loud and they just don't care. They'll tell you like to lighten up, or it's my house, it's my rules. They forget that they're living in a community that comes with shared responsibilities. You might own your home, but that doesn't take away, or it doesn't mean that you have to make everybody else's life miserable. Let me just say this, guys. You know, wanting peace and quiet at your home is not unreasonable. It's not uptight, in my opinion. It's literally what a home is for. Honestly, if your fun comes at the expense of someone else's sanity, then maybe it's not so fun after all.
So I wasn't originally gonna talk about this on here because it's still a situation that we're dealing with, the police with, the court with. It's a whole thing. We're unfortunately dealing with a situation with our neighbor next door. We, about 6 months ago, purchased a piece of land that is in between our house and their house. And we wanted to put a fence up on the border of where their house is so we can make our yard bigger. Well, we got the property surveyed and they're encroaching onto that lot by over 10 feet. We let them know that we wanted to put a fence up and we kindly asked them to move their things, which include multiple giant sheds, and the son lives in a tent in the backyard that is also encroaching onto the lot by over 10 feet. We asked them to please move their things before we put the fence up, and they said absolutely not. We're not moving our stuff. And we let them know we got it surveyed. They don't want to hear it. They say that it's their land because they've been here forever, for over 20 years. And we're like, well, you haven't paid any property tax on that. And we're in California, so the only way that you could have claimed the property is if you paid property tax on it for, I think it's like 5 or 8 years, somewhere around there. But they haven't paid a penny. It's not their land, it is our land. They're just mad that they have to move their crap. So this individual in the tent, the son that lives in the backyard, has been retaliating against us in many ways, some of which I can't even say on here because the video will literally get taken down. But one of the ways that I'm going to bring up on here is he's been firing, I have to be careful with my wording, firing BB pew-pews at our dogs. I'm so angry and so upset about this, and we've been dealing with, again, the police. They've been over here constantly dealing with this individual, and it's just been so stressful for us because we literally just wanted to put a fence up on our land that we freaking bought. So anyways, I'll keep you guys updated. The dogs are safe, they're fine, nobody's hurt, but it is scary, and people just, you can't underestimate anybody. So I'll keep you guys posted. Wish us luck.
426, 1024. There is stealing it. Stealing our chair.
So we just got home and we noticed that one of our chairs in our lot is missing. And so we reviewed the security footage, and lo and behold, last night, Tent Boy at like 10:30 p.m. came onto our lot and took our chair. So we just called the police and they're coming out to go talk to him. I'll keep you guys posted. Sorry to keep you guys waiting for an update on this whole chair stealing situation. Last night was horrible and drawn out. The cops were over most of the night. We were up all hours. What ended up happening was, after he stole the chair, we called the police. They came out initially, addressed the situation, spoke to me, spoke to my husband, spoke to Tent Boy, basically concluded in a nutshell that they couldn't do anything about him taking our said property off of our property line, because the cops couldn't believe that it was our property because there was no fence up, basically. Our property line has been surveyed twice now by 2 separate surveying companies, and the boundary markers are exactly in the same place each time. And the cops said, well, because the survey isn't official through the city yet, which it's been filed with the city, it just hasn't been approved, but it will be. It takes time. It'll be done in a couple weeks, less than that now at this point. And the cops said until it's approved with the city, it's not technically our property yet. So the cops didn't do anything. Tent Boy took our chair and I think burned it in his bonfire. I don't even know what he did with it. And that was that for that issue. Then they left. And then about 10 minutes later, my husband was like, well, if the cops aren't gonna do anything and he can just steal our property, I'm gonna start moving his shit off of our property, which he has a literal pile of tires. I don't even know how many tires on our property. And my husband started to move the tires onto their side, and Tent Boy came out with a baseball bat and started to attack my husband with it. Again, I have this on camera. Here's the footage. I just showed you the footage of it. And the police came, watched the footage, and determined that it did not look like Tent Boy was attacking my husband. And my husband was the instigator. And that he shouldn't have taken his stuff. Make that make sense. We're so frustrated with how every single time, there's been other instances that, here, I'll just say it, I don't even care anymore. There was an instance about a week ago where Tent Boy's friend, let's just call him Dirt Bike Boy, who lives a few streets up from us, he frequents over there. We have him on camera multiple times with Tent Boy to prove their relationship. About a week ago, the friend, came around onto the back side of the property yelling certain words at my husband. So my husband went down and was like, what's up? What's going on? Why are you yelling these things at us? The guy pulls out a certain sharp utensil and is holding it in his hand and says something about using the utensil on my husband's neck.
Why are you waving me to you, motherfucker? Yeah, I'm a neck. I'm not scared. Yeah. Well, not with the recording. I'm good on that.
I have this all on camera. Verbiage is very clear. The cops don't care. They don't care at all that was said to my husband, and it was just slid under the rug. We've been pressing the issue, making complaints with the department, and nothing's being escalated. We're completely just, this is unimportant. And at this point, we don't know what to do. So we just got out of our restraining order hearing and we were denied a restraining order against Tent Boy. This is not what we were expecting, to be honest, because we had profound evidence against him of him shooting out the security camera, him attacking my husband with a baseball bat, etc. Like, all the videos, I showed them, and the judge said they weren't credible enough. I don't know how that's possible. So, I don't know. That's the update for now. I'm absolutely infuriated. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Like, we brought in a few videos that we showed the judge. The whole court saw them. It's in the video of him firing out our security camera. It's very obvious it's him. Obvious it's a BB he's holding, which he's not supposed to have because he's a convicted felon. It's very obvious that the camera broke. After showing the video, the judge asked him, well, what is your response to that video? And Tent Boy goes, well, I wasn't firing at their security camera. I was firing at coyotes up in the hills. And the judge believed him without seeing any of his evidence. He didn't have to show anything. He just believed him. He just said that, and that was that. Even though we had video evidence of him doing it. And it all ended off with the judge basically saying, well, I believe both of you equally, and for that reason, we cannot grant you a restraining order. And that was it. Don't even get me started on the baseball bat incident. We showed the court that video, and the judge was so stuck on why my husband was over there. He just kept asking, why were you over by Tent Boy's tires? Why were you over by his tent? My husband's like, because that's our property. His stuff was on my property and I was moving it. And the judge is like, well, why were you over? It just like went in circles for a few minutes. Didn't acknowledge the fact that my husband was hit with a baseball bat. Didn't acknowledge the fact that that's a crime. And that just was smoothed over as well. And we also threw in a video of Tent Boy throwing a lit cigarette onto the backside of our property, which is like dead grass, which is a major fire hazard. And the judge didn't care about that part. But then what was so interesting was the judge really had a problem with Tent Boy the night of the baseball bat incident when my husband was moving the tires. Tent Boy claimed that my husband threw a tire at his bonfire that he was having and could have caused a catastrophic fire. And the judge was like, do you realize that that's a fire hazard to my husband? My husband's like, what? Am I insane? Are we insane? I don't even know.
All right, y'all, let's continue with the no boundaries crowd, because these are the folks who act like your fence is invisible or your driveway is theirs and your privacy is optional. So these are the neighbors who will trim your edges without even asking, walking their dogs on your lawn, or I've seen this one personally, build things that actually crosses the property line like it's no big deal. How rude. What's infuriating is how entitled some of these people feel in your space. You invest in landscaping, put up clear boundaries, and they act like it's a communal property. Setting boundaries isn't about being rude. Respecting someone's basic space is common decency. When someone constantly crosses that line, it says way more about them than it does about you.
If you're a new homeowner, FYI, our neighbors thought it was okay that they're playing with their dogs in our backyard. So let me preface this by saying that we have no fence between our neighbor and us. And we are not the people that it's like, oh yeah, you're 1 foot in our property. Oh, storms. No, it's not even like that. Our backyard's not like a normal square shape, okay? But it doesn't matter because that's how we don't have any neighbors. That's just the forest. And going that way, that's the forest. The only neighbor we have is this way, okay? So if I were to show you the square, this is our neighbor, this is us, okay? And this is the property line, okay? Let's assume that. Just to preface, they do not have much of a backyard because they chose to have a pool and then put a bunch of bushes around the pool. So they do not have a backyard. They have like a little sliver of a backyard. That's it. So shortly after we moved in, we installed cameras on our deck, on our backyard, garage, front of the house, everything, right? But it's only on like our land area, you know what I mean? It's not breaking anybody's privacy. So I want to keep in mind, like, this is how we caught the person because we would have never have noticed because I'll explain in a little bit. So this is the border. This is the other side, the forest area. This lady is full on. One day I'm at work and we get like a notification. I'm like, what is this? Like an animal? We're like, oh, squirrel or something. I'm like, oh, it's a dog. But we didn't think much of it. We're like, oh, maybe the dog just accidentally walked into our yard. So I come back home and I'm like, oh yeah, so my husband, like, oh yeah, there was a dog in our backyard. And I was showing the video. Then I saw something interesting. There's somebody in our backyard. And I'm like, wait, what? And it's not like, remember the border, okay? It's not like here. She's full on over here. And like throwing stuff like treats or whatever with the dog, like, and playing with the dog. And I'm like, are they out of their mind? I'm like, maybe, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. There was two things I told my husband. One, maybe they asked the previous people that lived here, like, oh, is it okay if we play with our dogs? Okay, one. Two, the other option was they knew no one was living in there currently because the house was empty for like a good period of time before we moved in. So then maybe they thought, oh, I can use this for my dog, okay? Those are our two options here. Now, what the best portion is, though, is that we moved in, okay, fine. We noticed it the first time. Then the second time we noticed it. Then the third time. And you know what's really, really interesting? Every single time we're not home, they choose to put the dog outside. But anytime we make our presence known that we're at home, it's like, oh, they don't bring their dog outside. And I was like, what the? So the next question you may have is, oh, did they try introducing themselves? Did they even ask? No, They didn't even knock on our damn door to ask, okay? They have not talked to us at all. And I have to explain in part 2 because this is too long. Y'all with these comments, oh my gosh. And in terms of for the pool, just to know, the pool's in their yard, and in our state, we do require some kind of boundary. I'm not sure the specifics, but I'm pretty sure that's why they have those bushes there, and it creates privacy, whatever. I guess I don't deserve that privacy. If you remember from part 1, they were always in our backyard when we weren't home. And at first we thought, oh, maybe it's a coincidence. Like, you know, maybe they work from home on the days that we work in the office. We genuinely thought that. Then I told my husband, let me test this theory out. So one day when I was working from home, I told my husband, just take the car to work and, you know, so that our garage and everything is empty and it looks like someone left. I'm going to close all the blinds, no, not movement, no lights, no nothing, right, during the daytime. I'm upstairs in a meeting, and lo and behold, I get the notification, and I can see on my phone, this lady is full in my backyard. Unfortunately for myself, I could not just leave that work meeting and be like, get off my backyard. So I was just like, I told my husband, I was like, see, I knew it. She's watching us or somehow paying attention when we're home and when we're not home, and then going to the backyard. That's when I know she's playing them games and being shady. And at this point, there was only 2 options. Either confront them or call the police. And in confronting them, I told my husband, I'm only going to confront them when it's on record. So if it's on the Nest camera and talking to them or sending them a letter, something that's on record that, hey, this happened. Because if they're already being shady, they best believe they're going to be shady later on if I call the police. Remember I told you there's certain days that I work from home, sometimes I don't. One Monday, it was a holiday. And all of a sudden, I go to the store. And best believe, look at that. The lady's in our backyard again. And she's never come on a Monday. Conveniently, this Monday, she decided to come. I get on that Nest camera. And at first I'm like, hello, who are you? And, you know, I'm just trying to act innocent because I'm just like, I know it's my neighbor, but they have not made their presence known. They have not introduced themselves. So God knows who they are. And, you know, they're not responding. They're just throwing their treat. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe they can't hear me. Like maybe the Nest camera's not loud. So I go to the deck camera. Still nothing. And then I'm like, finally like, you know what? I feel like she can hear me. Maybe she's ignoring me. So I'm like, hello, who are you? Hello, who are you? Hello, I can see you in my backyard. And then finally, once again, while I'm saying all this, girl's like, throwing the treats. Like as if she can't hear shit. Okay? And then finally I'm like, hello, you are trespassing. Hello, I will be calling the police shortly. Truly, I told my husband, I'm like, I don't think the microphone's loud enough. And then I literally exit out of the app and texted him that. I get back onto the app to see where she is. Oh, look at that, the lady magically going on the border of her side. How's that possible? That means you heard, but you were choosing not to. So you may be thinking, oh, this story's done. No. This is called shady neighbors. So obviously the shadiness and the cunningness of these people are crazy. So immediately after I tell her like, hey, you're trespassing, I'm gonna call the police, she makes it nicely over here to the border, okay? Now keep in mind, what did I say? I said, she is trespassing and she has like, you know, I'm gonna call the police. So she makes it nicely over here. And then what she does is she starts throwing her dog's treats onto our land. So what is she doing? Oh, I'm technically not on your land. I'm just throwing stuff. And oh, look, my dog is just conveniently getting onto your land. And then there was yesterday. The reason why I made this story time in the beginning was, remember this border? The imaginary border, okay? And from the first video, forest. We don't own that forest, okay? For the most part, I believe the previous owners cleared out the land and made it like tree free. So it's like a yard, right, for us, a yard. And so then right here, the tippy point. So technically based off like the borders, they don't really have a standing spot here because of their bush. But what this lady does is she stands like close to her bush. And then what she does is she takes her like treat and then she throws it here like on the side of her border, which is fine. That's her side. But then, of course, her dog can't keep running back and forth. So what she does is she throws it here and then throws it here on this end. So technically she thinks she's throwing it in the forest, but she's not. She's still throwing it in the backyard. And what she's trying to do is she's trying to find the loophole. Do you know what the loophole is? Well, technically I'm not throwing it in your yard. And oh, my dog just has to like run across. I had to turn my computer. But we're going to finish off the story no matter what. I see her on the Nest camera, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go to the window because I'm not gonna talk to these people at this point. If you're thinking that much into like just throwing your dogs treats, I couldn't even imagine talking to you. That means you're gonna twist and turn, and she may even end up calling the police on me for doing nothing. So I do a fun little creepiness of opening up my shades and just staring at her and recording her. She notices obviously I'm there, and then she starts waving at me, and then I'm like, and then I just continue to record her like this. And then I step away because I was about to laugh, honestly. I was just like, this is too funny. And then I sent it to my husband. Conveniently, that happened within like a minute, okay? Me stepping away and coming back to the window. All of a sudden, when I stepped away, she's gone. She's gone. She went into the corner over here where she thought I couldn't see her. I could. And then she goes back into her house, gets more treats, and then throws it into my yard. We're building a fence, y'all. That's the end of the story. We're getting a surveyor, and we're building a fence only on her side. Nowhere else. Just on her side. Just to be like, no, mother, no. So a lot of you wanted to see the backyard. Fair enough. I was using imaginary hand shapes to tell you what my backyard looks like. This is my backyard. And if you look over there, you can see the hedges. Let me tell you how the border works. You probably can't see me right now, but I'm behind that like prickly bush, and I don't know if you can see me waving, but pretty much from my foot to that bush is their land. And if you go without showing their house, you can see that from that trampoline, that's a thickness correction slightly right of the trampoline. And turns out where I'm standing is actually wrong. So I've been going off of the mow lines from when we purchased the home back in fall. But really, the property line, after looking at the papers and online, where that gap is between my feet and their hedges doesn't exist. So the corner is actually touching their hedge, and it goes diagonal. And I'll show you a line right now of their land. All this is ours. Now, do you want to know where that lady was standing? Here. This is where I saw her. Y'all are hilarious, by the way. The sprinklers going into their pool, all that stuff. Right now, we're looking for a surveyor because before building anything, we just want to make sure everything is proper. I'll update you guys if you guys want to see the fence. Hopefully, there's no trouble going on. I'll update you guys on how that goes.
I'm going to make this. These are my boundaries. I'm over it. This is your update. Here is part 2 of dealing with my neighbors that have no boundaries and destroy my property. Let's go. If you didn't watch part 1, go watch part 1. So essentially, I had texted everybody that lives on the roof and uses my roof, and I was like, basically like, you guys cannot use my roof anymore. And I'll put like the text message that I wrote them right here. But I'm no fool, and I know that I did give them permission to use my roof at one point. So I texted Courtney, giving her the benefit of the doubt, and also like to incriminate her and like have her admit that she received the text and her phone be off and stuff. So I texted all 3 of her phone numbers in a group chat, and I was like, hey babe, did you get the text message that I sent you guys about not using my roof essentially the other day? She had the audacity to text me back and basically say like, yeah, but that didn't warrant a response from me because that doesn't apply to me, but like, sorry that happened to you, boo. Totally disregarding everything else that they've done, like leave their cigarette butts, blah, 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 whatever, and just basically act like this doesn't pertain to me. It's not about me. Mind you, while I'm having this text conversation with her, I've already contacted the property manager, and I texted her last night, like at the time, that way she could like capture on the camera when they were going up my steps. And I had texted the property manager, like the text that I sent everybody on the roof, just establishing like a new norm. You're not allowed on my roof, whatever. So the property manager texted me and she's like, hey, like, did they ever like respond to the text, whatever? And I was like, no, they didn't. But I just sent her like a text basically like asking if she saw it. And she sent me this cocky ass text back. So the property manager was like, perfect, send it to me. But then I'm like dabbling in this conversation with Courtney a little bit. And I'm just like, basically, she's like, I didn't use your roof, whatever. Come to find out, it was 3 of like her guests. And I guess like her boyfriend told her that like, or her boyfriend had them come up there or whatever. And she sent me a text message screenshot, I'm going to put it here, of like basically her telling him not to use my roof, but then also like asking if I'm home. Like, what? So basically like, if I'm not home, then you're going to use my roof. A lot of people were saying like, put up cameras. The building has lots of cameras. There's a camera directly in my yard. So all of this is captured on video. But then she starts like basically trying to gaslight me, say like, I'm not explaining myself, like da-da-da-da. And I'm like, babe, I have very clearly and very nicely explained myself. And I told her like, I've been really nice up until this point, but you're low-key being a bitch, so like I can be a bitch too. I really know how to play that game. And then she starts acting like I'm threatening her, and I'm like, no, like, I mean, like, I'm a bitch in a professional way. I am gonna Karen the hell out of your ass. So then I sent the longest email to my landlord, like, essentially, and I'm pretty sure we have the same landlord. And basically, like, it's long as hell. I'm gonna put it up here, but, like, it's extremely long because I had an extremely lengthy list of problems. And I like talked to the property manager on the phone. She hates them. Mind you, like majority of the units in my building are Airbnbs. So there's only a few tenants and everyone owns their like condo, apartment, whatever. And she like the property manager lady, I'm on the phone with her and she's telling me how like they harass like the Airbnb guests and just all this stuff. And she's trying to get rid of them. She's like, I wanted to warn you when you first moved in, but they already call me a racist, so, like, I didn't want you to, like, I don't know, basically jump on the bandwagon. I'm like, bitch, you should have told me. Like, I would have been like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I had no idea. Then I'm explaining to her, like, you know, I don't really want to get anybody evicted. I don't really want, like, you know what I mean? Because I'm really not that guy. Like, I'm not trying to, you know what I mean, be in anybody's business. Then she tells me, like, well, really Courtney and her son are the only people on the lease and that Courtney's boyfriend and his mom aren't on the lease. So she's been trying to kick them out for months because of that. Slash, like, they have other issues with them. So, like, you know, whenever you're trying to get kicked out or they're trying to kick you out of somewhere, they will, like, weaponize whatever they have against you. So I'm like, I don't know, whatever. But basically she's like, well, no matter what, I'm filing an incident report. I'm trespassing them. I sent all of this to the landlord. And on Monday, basically, like, they're getting reprimanded and hopefully, like, served paperwork. So as of now, that is the update. And then I did send my landlord also just, like, pictures and things of, like, proof of cigarette butts, beer bottle left on my roof, like, whatever. Honestly, I clean it every single day, so there's not that much on there. But I'm trying to, like, let it accumulate, but, like, it just drives me crazy. So anyway, I should have an update by Monday as far as, like, what the next course of action is, and I am having them put a lock on my gate, and then I'm also having a privacy screen put up around the front of my yard. I'm not too concerned about retaliation, but I mean, I will also press charges. Like, I don't give a so yeah, I promise you I am establishing my boundaries. If anything happens before Monday, I will let you know.
No, this next category might be the most dangerous of them all because with the passive-aggressive neighbors, might not even realize that there's a problem at first because they come with a smile, you know, they might wave, you know, here and there. This is the neighbor who won't speak to you directly about an issue but will absolutely go to the HOA on you. These are the ones who won't confront you about maybe tree branches hanging over the fence but will poison the roots when you're not looking. What makes it so frustrating is that you can't even call them out without looking paranoid. They're like, what do you mean? I would never do that. And let's be honest, guys, it is hard to defend yourself against passive-aggressive people. There is no proof, no shouting, just, you know, a million little things that adds up until you're constantly walking on eggshells in your neighborhood.
She's literally in my backyard right now. Never talked about this on the internet because I have empathy. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. However, I'm now at the point where something's just not working. I don't know what to do. I have a neighbor. She is older, mid to late 60s, early 70s. She's not from here. She's originally from Russia. Understand there might be cultural difference between here and Russia. I know her whole life, which brings me to my issue is that the reason I know her whole life is because since May of last year, she and her dog have been coming into our backyard, onto our property, down into our sunken patio for hours every day. And it got to 5 hours, 5 total hours in one single day. That's when I had to have the conversation very bluntly. I just had to straight up say, this is too much. I love that our dogs play well together. I don't love the invasion of privacy. She doesn't pick up on the social cues. I gave her my phone number, and then she started saying that she can't find my phone number in her phone because her phone is primarily in Russian, and I guess my name in English is hard to search for, so I gave her my Facebook so that she could contact me that way. She's written on my wall before, and she's contacted me through Facebook, so I know she can use it. She just refuses. She just shows up. I do not take this lightly. I have had to yell at this woman. We had to put cameras up. We went on Amazon and bought fences. Nothing stops her. We have a hedge line in the back. I have on camera her just emerging out of the bushes. She went through the hedge line. Now I know you might be thinking, maybe she's lonely. You see all those videos on the internet, right? Of all the like heartwarming stories of young people moving into houses and becoming like best friends with elderly neighbors. That's not this situation. She is not my direct neighbor. She lives on a different street. It is actually wild. She did do is that she paid a landscaping crew $200 to cut a path through the woods into our neighbor's yard, because that way it's a more direct line from her house into our neighbor's yard to then get to our yard. Between where her house is and where our house is, we have another neighbor who has a dog. When that dog barks, I know they're coming through the woods. Now I'm starting to sweat right now because that dog is barking. I can hear the dog barking through the skylight. As the weather's getting warmer, she has been deciding that if my dog's outside, that's a welcome entry for her to come onto our property, for her dog to play with our dog. I know so much about this woman's life. She just lost her partner last February. I feel like I have given her every opportunity for kindness and empathy. I am at my wit's end on how do I communicate that she has so far stepped beyond the boundary of what is and isn't appropriate. She said to me that our dogs can just feel each other because she thinks that they're siblings. I didn't know how to take that. I thought maybe that was just something like, again, difference in culture. Maybe I'm not understanding. And then this happened. My new husband and I, right after our wedding, were sitting at our dining room table having dinner. And we were just finishing up. It was about 8 o'clock. Dining room table is like in the middle of the room. There's a sliding glass door right here. I'm eating my spaghetti and I look over and she has not only come into our property, come down into the sunken patio. She's doing the thing where you cup your eyes so you can see in. And my husband, out of the corner of his eye, saw that and just goes, "Don't acknowledge her, she'll go away." Which I immediately started panicking because I know she doesn't. I spend more time at this house than he does, and I know she doesn't leave unless you specifically say, "I need you to go. It's time for you to leave. You need to leave me alone." These are all things that I've had to say to her. And as a young woman who has always been taught that you can give respect and you can treat others with empathy, just because you give them respect up front doesn't mean that you have to continue respecting them if they're not going to respect you. We're eating dinner. She doesn't leave. I look at my husband and it's now 8:45. She has sat down on our outdoor patio. It's a covered patio directly next to our house. She's on our outdoor couch. She's making phone calls in Russian. I had to go out there at 8:45 to just start stating facts to her. I said, "We are not outside. It is dark. I saw you look through our door. You saw us eating dinner. You need to leave and stop coming onto my property unless you are previously invited." Nothing has changed. Now I know what everyone's thinking. Why aren't you going to the police? Why aren't you taking legal action? You wanna know why? Because I've spent all of this forced time with this woman. I know everything about her life and I don't know her visa status. I don't know if she's sick. It's been advised to us that maybe we should call and have a welfare check done. I also don't think I could sleep at night if I was the reason that her whole life imploded. I don't think I'm asking for too much for her to just respect our privacy and stop coming into our yard. She's also now training her dog that every time it's outside, it can make its way through the woods into our neighbor's yard, into our yard. And that's not good. She's literally in my backyard right now. I've just been watching them from my bedroom window because I think that if I go out there, it only like perpetuates that she is welcome because then she starts talking to me. I've been trying not to engage with her. This is the final makeup done under duress. Let's go film an awning. If someone is standing, everyone's yelling at me to call the cops. Everyone talks about if you put a frog in water and then you boil the water to cook the frog, it like doesn't know that it's being cooked. That's me. Except my brain resets because in the winter when it's like cold, snowy, and no one's really outside, we don't see her. She just doesn't come over. She's like a fair weather fan. I'm now getting ready to go to lunch with my parents. I do know this woman's life. A lot of people were saying I only know what she tells me. Do you think I'm not fact checking everything on the internet? She told me that her husband passed away. I looked it up. They weren't even married. They just cohabitated. In his obituary, it does refer to her as his like longtime girlfriend and or fiance. That's very hard to prove unless I just straight up was like, "Were you guys married?" The very first time I saw her, her husband passed away February 26th. The first time I saw her, it was like May 1st. Can you imagine if I had told her that first moment, get off my property? You guys, she cried. The first time I met her, she cried. She was telling me that she has no family here. She had previously been married and I guess had a daughter that's in Russia or somewhere, but she has not spoken to her 30 plus years. I've been through grief. I've lost people close to me and I know what trauma does to a person. As a neighbor, I was trying to be neighborly and friendly. In 2022, my dad had a heart attack. Any heart attack is scary. This one was insane. The entire left side of his heart stopped working. He was awake and breathing and talking in a cath lab where they thought they were just putting in a stent. No blood was pumping out of his heart. He coded on the table and then proceeded to flatline again in the hospital. Like, he died twice. They had to bring him back twice. He was airlifted to University of Pennsylvania Hospital where he spent 91 days in the hospital on ECMO, on heart-lung bypass. He was on a ventilator. Like, this man was yellow and gray. I have never been through trauma like that in my life. Thankfully, that has given me a new perspective on what it means for grief and loss and what it can do to a person. I would never approach this woman right from the jump and call the police and say, get off my property. A lot of people in my comments are so angry that I didn't do that right from the start. With that being said, I did leave out the scariest story for me. I didn't have cameras at the time, and I look back on this interaction with this woman and I feel like it just makes me see grief. I genuinely hope it's not like a reflection of who she is. I have been getting a lot of helpful messages, like she might be having early onset dementia. We're in the pocket of her visiting me at least twice to 3 times a day now. We haven't gotten to the 5-day yet. I had a dentist appointment in June. We are like 1 month into her visiting me. I had yet to ever say to her, you need to get off of my property. I would just be like, okay, like, thanks for stopping by. We're still in the very nice phase. I woke up at 7:15 to let my dog out. I'm in full long sleeve, long pant, Christmas pajamas. And I wear my retainer every single night. So I've still got my retainer in. I'm like padding downstairs, go to the back door, go to let my dog out. And the way that our sunken patio is attached to our house and then we have an awning, if someone is standing... What the fuck is my dog barking? Henny, come on. You're all right. False alarm. Sorry, got derailed. If someone was standing right at the edge of our sunken patio, so not in the patio, just like at the edge of our yard, could only see probably about from mid-thigh down. I open our sliding door. All I see directly out is her dog. Immediately, my dog and this dog are like, hooray, play day at 7:15 in the morning. All I see, the bottom of a nightgown, socks and slippers, and then just bare leg. Me, retainers in, pajamas on, like Christmas pajamas, I like wander out there. I'm like, hello? I bend down like this. This woman that we're talking about, my neighbor, is in a misbuttoned, like house dress, moo-moo, like nightgown situation that comes to mid-thigh with like socks into slippers, inside house slippers. She has like walked through the woods into my backyard. I made the joke to my husband that in that moment, I legitimately was like, I think I'm about to get baked into a pie, Hansel and Gretel style. That was how creepy it was. That was also the first time I ever yelled at her because I was like, we are not doing this right now. It's 7:15 a.m. I have a dentist appointment. My dog needs to go outside, go to the bathroom, come back inside. You gotta go. I think we all know how that turned out.
Neighbour has now took one of my parcels and smashed one of my parcels up. I've had like 5-6 parcels deliver over the last few days, so I've gone back today to go and collect them. Got home, took my parcels in and noticed my Ring doorbell was needed charging. So I took that in with me, and before I ever get out the car or leave my house or whatever, I always check my Ring doorbell to see where my neighbour is. So if I've seen he's gone out previously or if he's still in the house, just so I can prepare whether I'm ever going to bump into him. So I seen that he was still in the house. I was in my house about an hour and a half, went to leave, put my Ring doorbell back, then realised I needed to get a sample from that had been sent that I needed to do a video on. So I went back in the house, and as I was going back in the house, I got a notification on my Ring doorbell that he was returning home. Clearly, he went out while the Ring doorbell wasn't on there. But on his way past, he went and checked behind my bins and like looked down at the bins, then looked up at the camera and laughed. So I've got my partner to go down and check behind the bins, and it's a parcel that's literally battered. I'll show you the video of it in a minute. It's a Miyoki cup, and you know they're like stainless steel, so he's got to have taken some sort of hammer or something. The handle was pulled off and everything. So I've gone on to see when this item had been delivered, and it'd been delivered on the 20th at noon. And when I went back to look, my neighbour had took that parcel in. Now, a few weeks back, he refused to take one of my parcels, and he said to the delivery driver, "We don't get on, I'm not taking it." So why now would he take one of my parcels in? Back to see if I can see him putting that parcel back, and I can't find it anywhere. So the only thing that I can think of that he's managed to obviously not do the camera is he's gone to leave the house while I was in the house, seen that the Ring doorbell wasn't on there, thought it was the perfect opportunity to put it back behind my bin, because it was the exact same parcel, because it was the exact same time it was delivered as the parcel that he took it in. And surely that cannot be a coincidence that he refused to before, but then all of a sudden the one that he's taken in all of a sudden becomes smashed up. And I have also requested to see if I can get the picture of basically the neighbour holding that parcel, or in his doorway or whatnot. So to me, that's too much of a coincidence for it to have got damaged in transit. Can't even send it to the police. I think I'm going to send it to the police anyway, but I know for a fact they're just going to be like, well, that's pure coincidence, because that's basically what they said about my other, when he was threatening on my Ring doorbell to me, saying on blah blah blah. They tried saying that we don't know who's talking to you. Well, he's talking to me. I haven't even been there for nearly 2 weeks, and he's still threatening on the Ring doorbell. He's done that to my parcel. Like, now he's clearly got nothing better to do, because he hasn't got a job. So this must be some time for him, to be honest. Do you think that's pure coincidence, or I'm just so annoyed as why can't I see him put it back? Like, that's what's really getting me. Like, how does he not put it back? Because it's that exact parcel. I really, really don't understand it. But then if it has got mashed up in transit, I would still see him put the parcel behind the bin, because he took that parcel in. So, I don't know. But do you think that's just pure coincidence? And what do you think? Let me know in the comments.
What kind of neighborhood are you guys living in? Because when me and my husband purchased this home 2 years ago, that I'm very lucky and I'm very grateful that we were able to buy a house, I thought, in my delusional state, that the neighborhood we would purchase our first home in would be so good. You know, everyone would open their arms to us in a warm hug of friendship, okay? People would wave to us. There would be no problems. That was my fault for believing that, because that's not real. We got Kevin on the corner, who's a self-proclaimed mechanic, no training, who sells car parts, which I know he legally does not obtain, and he just leaves buckets of neon green goo out all the time. He also has about 1 million cars, 3 RVs, and a bunch of kids running around, which is fine. I've had to talk to Kevin multiple times about keeping his shit together, okay? And he's good. He works with me, but he's also the worst. He's a little bit of a drug problem, so sometimes at 3 a.m, he is sawing shit in the backyard. I don't love that, Kevin. Okay, we got homegirl over here who is obsessed with my husband. She's about 55, retired welder. She has nothing to do but wait for my husband to get home. She runs out to greet him. She looks at me with death in her eyes. She wants to kill me. And I would try it. I could take her. I really think I could. Okay, and then we have a family that lives over here, which they are nice. However, they literally have a garage sale every Saturday. Every Saturday they're having a garage sale. And I love a side hustle, I do. But I know if I leave my house, if I leave my spot, if I try to come back within at least like 3 hours, the spot will be gone. Someone is taking it because they're going to this garage sale. I don't know how much they have to sell. It's an endless supply. It's always new things. And then we have 2 streets up. When we first moved in, I was walking my dogs on the, on the sidewalk on their leashes, and their dog ran out, attacked me and my dogs. And that was really scary. And like things happened, except the lady ignored it. She got her dog, didn't say sorry, didn't say like, are you okay? And every time she sees me, she like literally just leaves. Like she doesn't act like she knows me. Traumatizing. Anyways, with that being said, it's not all bad because I do have Jim. Let me tell you about Jim. Jim is about 65, retired, okay? And he does about 3 walks a day around the neighborhood just to make sure everything's going well, okay? And when I first started going on my hot girl walks, we would run into each other, and we over time developed a friendship. Okay, now he brings treats for my dogs. He's always on the phone, and every time he sees me, he goes, hey, my friend's here, I gotta hang up. And he hangs up, and we have a conversation, and it's so good. And the best thing about him is he is the town gossip. He knows what's going on, when it's going on, and where it's going on. I love Jim, okay? And I thought I'd give you the tea for today that Jim told me. So Jim has grown up in this neighborhood his whole life. His parents bought a house literally 3 houses down from me. And he's just kind of moved around the neighborhood a little bit. He loves it here. I'm not sure why, but he does, okay? And he was telling me that his neighbor, the pastor, he's a pastor, has a little problem, okay? And the problem is a lot of people have been abandoning cars in our neighborhood, like taking the parts off of them and abandoning them there. Is it Kevin, my neighbor? It could be, I'm not sure, but like, I'm not gonna say that. And so the pastor, being who he is, has called the police multiple times, and the city doesn't care. This is like such a big problem in my neighborhood that the car will sit there for years. Okay, and it's taking a spot where the pastor parks, okay? So Jim said, I'm taking it into my own hands. And this is what Jim did. And if any of you guys rat on Jim, I will find you and I'll take you down. Okay, Jim figured out how to get into the car, and he figured out how to put it into neutral. And Jim is thinking about rolling it into the middle of the street until the town does something about it. And he says he will continue to do that if they just move it back into the same place. The pastor knows what's going on, and I think he said God's cool with it. So that's what Jim's doing. Jim's taking care of the neighborhood. So I might not have a good core community, but I have Jim. And that's all I need. I really think that's all I need.
So at the end of the day, what does this all say about the world that we live in? I think it shows how important boundaries, communication, and the basic respect really are. Not just in your regular friendships or relationships, but in spaces that we share with total strangers as well. When you're living next to someone who can't respect your basic space, your peace of mind, and your right to exist quietly, it messes up everything. It's exhausting, it is stressful, and honestly, a test of patience that some of us never signed up for. Here's the thing, Islanders, you are not alone, because I know that all of us can relate. All of us at least at once have had a nightmare neighbor. Guys, if you have your own neighbor nightmare horror stories, feel free to share them down below and let us hear it, guys, because we want to hear from you now. As per usual, guys, this is where we're going to wrap up today's discussion. Thank you so much again for sticking with me until the end of another video. If you haven't already liked or subscribed, now's the time to go ahead and do so. Yeah, and if you want to continue to watch more relatable drama-filled videos like these, you can go ahead and click that up next video with the right on your screen and enjoy the day away. As per usual, guys, thank you again so much for watching. My name is Jody, and I aspire to inspire. Until next time, guys, walk good.